In the final years of the 19th century, the United States was a nation divided. The echoes of the Civil War still reverberated through society, and the promise of Reconstruction had given way to the harsh realities of segregation and racial violence. Jim Crow laws enforced a brutal system of apartheid in the South, while lynching and racial terror sought to suppress African American progress nationwide. Despite these oppressive conditions, a sense of hope and determination persisted within African American communities. Many saw military service as a pathway to equality and respect. Among these were the Buffalo Soldiers, brave men who had already earned their stripes on the western frontier. Formed in 1866, the Buffalo Soldiers were among the first African American regiments in the peacetime U.S. Army. However, they would quickly become renowned for their resilience and skill in protecting settlers and building infrastructure across the western frontier. They made up the 9th and 10th Cavalry, as well as the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments, units composed entirely of black enlisted men commanded by white officers. The Buffalo Soldiers gained a reputation for their bravery and skill in the Indian Wars, earning respect from both allies and adversaries. By the late 1890s, Cuba was a land in turmoil. For decades, Cuban insurgents had fought valiantly for their independence from Spanish colonial rule. The island was ravaged by conflict, with Cuban rebels seeking freedom and Spanish forces brutally suppressing the uprising. The struggle for Cuban independence became a symbol of the broader fight against colonial oppression. In the United States, the Cuban struggle ignited a wave of sympathy and outrage. American newspapers sensationalized the conflict with vivid and often exaggerated accounts of Spanish atrocities. This yellow journalism stirred public sentiment and fueled a growing clamor for American intervention. The tipping point came on February 15, 1898, when the USS Maine, an American battleship, mysteriously exploded in Havana Harbor, killing 266 sailors. While the cause of the explosion remained unclear, the American press was quick to blame Spain. The rallying cry of "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain," swept across the nation, galvanizing public opinion and pushing the United States toward war. As the drums of war beat louder, following the explosion of the USS Maine, African American newspapers and leaders saw this as an opportunity. The call to arms resonated deeply within the black community. Influential figures like Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois encouraged enlistment, viewing military service as a powerful statement against racial injustice. Black soldiers, many of whom would become part of the renowned Buffalo Soldiers, saw the war as a chance to challenge the status quo and earn the respect and equality they deserved. Despite facing systemic racism at home and within the military, the Buffalo Soldiers prepared to prove their valor and loyalty on the global stage, setting the stage for a pivotal chapter in American military history. The hopes and aspirations of thousands of African American soldiers were intertwined with the nation's fate, but this time, their battleground would be far from home, in the hills of Cuba. The Buffalo Soldiers, veterans of the western frontier, had long established their reputation as some of the toughest and most disciplined units in the U.S. Army. Their extensive experience in the harsh conditions of the Indian Wars forged them into a formidable fighting force. Now that the Spanish-American War was looming on the horizon, these seasoned soldiers were among the first to be mobilized. In early 1898, orders came to prepare for deployment. The Buffalo Soldiers gathered their gear and bid farewell to their families, embarking on a journey that would take them to Tampa, Florida. The road to Tampa was marked by long marches and train rides, where they encountered harsh conditions and racial segregation. Despite their exemplary service record, they faced substandard accommodations and supplies, a stark reminder of the racial prejudices that permeated American society. Upon arrival in Tampa, the Buffalo Soldiers joined thousands of other troops in makeshift camps. The conditions were grueling, the heat was oppressive, sanitation was poor, and disease was rampant. Yet, the Buffalo Soldiers remained focused, undergoing intense drills and preparations for the impending conflict. Their rigorous training regimen included daily marches, tactical exercises, marksmanship, weapons drills, and hand-to-hand battles to ensure they were combat-ready. The Buffalo Soldiers boarded ships bound for Cuba, carrying the weight of their duty and the hopes of their community. As they sailed towards the Caribbean, they were resolved to prove their valor and make their mark on history. Upon arriving in Cuba, the Buffalo Soldiers were immediately thrust into action at the Battle of Las Guasimas on June 24, 1898. The tropical heat was stifling, and the dense jungle terrain was unforgiving. But these seasoned soldiers moved with precision and determination. Demonstrating remarkable bravery and tactical acumen, the Buffalo Soldiers advanced under heavy Spanish fire. Their disciplined maneuvers and effective use of cover allowed them to outflank the enemy and press forward, showcasing their superior combat skills. Their performance in this initial engagement was instrumental, not only in achieving a strategic victory, but also in earning the respect of their fellow soldiers and commanders. American generals devised a strategy that centered around taking control of the important city of Santiago de Cuba, the island's second-largest city. But they would first have to take control of two fortified hilltop positions that made up the city's outer defenses. These key engagements would become celebrated as the Battle of Kettle Hill and the Battle of San Juan Hill. As the Spanish infantry entrenched itself on the peaks of the two hills, some 8,000 Americans prepared for an epic battle. Included in the 13 regiments were almost 1,300 black soldiers from the 9th and 10th Cavalry. On July 1, 1898, the Battle of Kettle Hill became a defining moment in the Spanish-American War. The Buffalo Soldiers of the 9th and 10th Cavalry regiments found themselves fighting alongside Theodore Roosevelt's Rough Riders in a fierce and intense combat. Under a blistering sun and relentless Spanish gunfire, the Buffalo Soldiers displayed remarkable cohesion and determination. As they advanced up the steep slopes, their disciplined formations and tactical expertise were evident. They provided crucial support and covering fire, enabling the Rough Riders to press forward. The intense combat tested the mettle of every soldier on the field. The Buffalo Soldiers' unwavering resolve and bravery stood out as they pushed through enemy lines, their actions pivotal in breaking the Spanish defenses. Despite the chaos and carnage, the Buffalo Soldiers' critical role in the battle did not go unnoticed by those who fought alongside them. Their bravery and tactical acumen were key to the victory. The Battle of San Juan Hill, fought on July 1, 1898, stands as one of the most iconic clashes of the Spanish-American War. Amidst the chaos and intensity, the Buffalo Soldiers of the 9th and 10th Cavalry regiments played a decisive role in securing the American victory. As the dawn broke over the rugged terrain, American forces, including the Rough Riders and the Buffalo Soldiers, prepared for a daunting assault. The Spanish troops were well entrenched on the high ground, making the task ahead formidable. Under the searing heat and heavy fire, the Buffalo Soldiers began their advance. With remarkable discipline and cohesion, the Buffalo Soldiers moved forward. Their training and experience from years of frontier duty were evident as they navigated the treacherous terrain, maintaining tight formations despite the relentless Spanish gunfire. Their advance was methodical, marked by tactical precision and sheer bravery. The Spanish defenses were fierce, with bullets and shrapnel filling the air. Yet the Buffalo Soldiers pressed on, their resolve unshaken. They provided crucial covering fire, enabling other units, including the Rough Riders, to make significant gains. Their coordinated efforts disrupted the Spanish lines and created openings for further advances. As they neared the crest of San Juan Hill, the combat became even more intense. The Buffalo Soldiers, alongside their comrades, engaged in close quarters battle, displaying exceptional courage and tenacity. They were heroes, and their presence was instrumental in breaking through the final Spanish defenses. As the Spanish-American War unfolded, two distinct groups of soldiers emerged as key players: Theodore Roosevelt's Rough Riders and the Buffalo Soldiers. Roosevelt's Rough Riders, a volunteer cavalry regiment, captured the public's imagination with their diverse makeup and rugged image. Comprised of cowboys, miners, and Ivy League athletes, they received extensive media coverage and widespread acclaim. The press celebrated the Rough Riders as American heroes. With Roosevelt often at the forefront, portrayed as a charismatic and daring leader, their exploits were documented in great detail, earning them a storied place in American history. In stark contrast, the Buffalo Soldiers, though equally vital to the war effort, were often overlooked or downplayed in the media. These seasoned African-American troops brought years of frontier experience to the battlefield, demonstrating exceptional bravery and tactical prowess. Despite their significant contributions, they received far less recognition. Roosevelt himself would eventually acknowledge the Buffalo Soldiers' bravery, crediting them with crucial support during key battles. However, his praise did little to alter the broader narrative that favored the Rough Riders. The disparity in recognition underscores the broader racial inequalities of the U.S. military, highlighting the need to honor all who fight valiantly for this country in all of its wars. Reintegrating into a deeply segregated society, these veterans encountered systemic discrimination and limited opportunities. Their valor on the battlefield did little to shield them from the pervasive racism of American society. Instead of being hailed as heroes, they returned to a country where their sacrifices were often overlooked and their rights denied. As we conclude this journey through the history of the Buffalo Soldiers, it becomes clear that their story is not just one of military valor, but also a profound chapter in the broader struggle for civil rights and equality in America. These brave soldiers fought not only on the battlefields of Cuba, but also against the persistent racism and segregation of their own country. By bringing their story to light, we honor their legacy and inspire future generations to continue the fight for justice and equality. The Buffalo Soldiers exemplify resilience, courage, and determination, traits that are essential in the ongoing quest for civil rights.
We appreciate the fact that you stayed until the end. Thank you for spending time with us, and don't forget to like this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so that you never miss a video. Bye for now. We will see you tomorrow.
Like we're not going